Hello, here I am again, once again going on a little bicycle ride. It is a beautiful morning, it is not too cold and there's no wind, and but it's still pretty nippy though. But I am brave and so here it is, another video about embodied language. And I want to say something about meeting people where they are at. So that will be kind of a theme that I want to address today. Meeting you, because you are listening to this, you're looking at me, and you're probably judging me in one way or another. Like, what is he? Oh, he's wearing a hat. Oh, he has another video about his little bike ride, and he has another diatribe about his embodied language. But no, I am talking on this video, meeting you where you're at, and where you're at is, of course, always only a concern for me or for anyone if this other person is focused on you. So I can presumably meet you where you are at, your level of understanding, or your level of what you are able to handle, or what you are willing to admit, your openness, or your awareness, how conscious are you really, and how willing are you to look at yourself, all these kind of things, But I'm meeting you where you're at. Supposedly I'm able to say, supposedly I'm able to recognize or to understand where you are at. But whenever I do that, or whenever anybody else does that, because everybody does this to some extent, we're always trying to sort of just take the other person into account. And have a good look at me. Whenever we do that, we are moving away from who we ourselves are. And we are shortchanging ourselves. That's what happens, meeting people where they're at. Unconditional positive regard, they call it in psychology. It's a what is it? A Rogerian principle, I believe. Carl Rogers came up with that wonderful idea. Meeting people where they're at. You just accept them as they are. Well, I hope you get my message. I don't accept you where you are. Absolutely not. And to the extent that I've done that, I was wrong. And I've given myself a hard time, and I've also completely been distracted from what I am about. I'm not gonna meet anybody where they're at. The hell with that. You can meet me you don't meet me where I'm at. Why should I meet you where you are at? Who the hell decides anyway who is gonna meet who where they are at? Let's say for instance I assume that I'm able to meet you where you're at. That would sort of imply that I know where you're at, even though you may yourself not even know that, right? Because that's kind of also what it says, right? Because why would I even need to meet you where you're at if it wasn't for the fact that you just don't know where the hell you're at, and I supposedly know it? So I'm better than you, I know more than you, I have more to say than you, so I can meet you where you're at, Oh yeah, I accept you. No, I don't. And of course you can say, well, wait a second, but isn't there behaviorism, and isn't there, the shaping of behavior, and you need to shape a person's behavior into the target behavior, and then you need to build that up and so forth. And all that is wonderful, all that is wonderful. All that is wonderful when you're dealing with, let's say, a child. when you're for the first time, a child is starting to speak, or starting to walk, or starting to talk. And that's wonderful when and in the early stages of development. It's wonderful to be able to, as a good parent, as a loving parent, as a caring parent, to help your child to facilitate Vygotsky. Have you ever heard of this guy, Lev Vygotsky? That's a Russian psychologist. He had a beautiful term for that. They call that the zone of proximal learning. It's just another way of actually saying what behaviorists have always described as a shaping of behavior. And there's room for that, of course, and there needs to be, because without any guidance, without somebody telling you how to speak and how to write, and you aren't learning anything. You remain illiterate. And so if there is no education, if there's no parenting, if there's no guidance of any sort, if a child is just left to his own, it grows up without that socialization. It grows up without all the kind of wonderful things that human beings are capable of if they learn how to behave socially. But I am sorry to say, but when people have grown up, when people are adults, we are past any kind of ability to learn through approximation. I know this is a bold claim, but I'm just saying it. People are not changing because of shaping of behavior when they have already been conditioned. Because the shaping of the behavior, if there is such a thing at all, it would always have to go hand in hand. There cannot be any other way, with unlearning or deconditioning of the unwanted behavior, the maladaptive behavior, the problematic behavior, the antisocial behavior, the destructive behavior, the self-defeating behavior. That needs to stop. It always has to stop first before there can be a reconditioning, and that is then the shaping of the behavior that we're talking about, of the pro-social behavior, the shaping of let's say the wanted behavior, the behavior that makes a person feel happy and successful and productive and meaningful. Okay, well, gotta show you here the beautiful sky. So there is no such thing as shaping of behavior anymore when you are older, because we never really get to put into place both these processes, these processes which are very, very essential. It is essential that the old behavior that we want to get rid of, which is a problem, that there needs to be environmental stimulation. They call that contingencies in behaviorism. Behavior is an effect of the organism's interaction with the environment. So if there are these stimuli which discourage that behavior, which ignore that behavior, the behavior that we don't want, which basically stop that behavior, which also punishes that behavior, and there's a room for punishment here, because you could say, okay, now we get into that. There should not be any coercion, there shouldn't be any force to stop anybody from doing anything. No, a person supposedly is free. We should be all free from coercion. Well, wait a second. If we are talking about how we are dealing with, let's say, I don't know, I'm just saying, fanatic people who are wanting to blow everybody up, who wanting to kill everybody. When we're dealing with the enemy, so to speak, they want to kill us. We got to have weapons, we got to have soldiers, we got to have army. If we don't, we're going to be wiped out. Yeah. And if we're dealing with people who are always intimidating us, threatening us, beating us up, or, creating havoc everywhere, and we are just afraid and we just want to get along, but they are not doing that, then we are going to be run over by these people. That's what is happening. It has happened all throughout history. So there is always then a need for people to stand up or to defend or to fight for their freedom, to fight for their independence, to fight for whatever they're supposedly, we call that on our rights. Yeah, but it's just the freedom to behave the way that they want. Okay, so to stop that behavior that we don't want is an essential part of the shaping of the behavior which we want. But, yeah, we all know that. This is the history of mankind. We get stuck on fighting for freedom, fighting for independence, all this kind of stuff. And then we are forever busy with this fighting, with this stopping of this behavior, and we never really get to the shaping of the behavior. So, but there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that because we're dealing with adults. And we are dealing with adults whose behavior has been so conditioned that there's no way in which we realistically are able to change that behavior. There are no environmental contingencies shaped in such a way that people are going to unlearn the other behavior and relearn discover the wonderful behavior that they would have if they have what I call embodied language. So linking this all to embodied language now, how are you going to find out about your embodied language? Well, in one way, you're going to maybe hear me on this video and you're going to hear me say things which you object to or which you feel shocked by or which you don't agree with. But on the other hand, if you listen to what I'm saying and sort of just reason along with me about what I'm saying, you can't dismiss what I'm saying. You just can't, because it is true. And so there is a possibility that we have as human beings to do what I do and to speak and to simultaneously listen to yourself, to have embodied language. I'm doing that. You could do that. Anyone could do it. Anyone who can speak and hear him or herself can do this, but you don't, because you are conditioned by your disembodied language. So, as I was saying, that disembodied language has to stop. Otherwise, you cannot have embodied language. Yeah, you have to stop not listening to yourself and you have to start listening to yourself. Yeah? So, how's that going to happen? Is that going to happen because I meet you where you are? This is what I've been doing for 45 years. At least I was trying. And I've come to the conclusion that I cannot meet you where you are. And it is ridiculous for me to try to meet you where you are. It is just stupid. And the whole of Western psychology is also infatuated with this whole concept of meeting people where they are because of disembodied language. Yeah. It goes very deep. No, it doesn't go deep. It doesn't go deep at all. or deep, whatever you call that, you know, it is just stupid that we are trying to do this because you as an adult, yeah, and I assume that this is not a video for children, okay? This is a video for adults. This is a video for mature people who know how to speak and write and how to read and write, and who have had their problems, who have had their arguments, who have had their divorces, and who have had their, you know, their traumas and their problems and their addictions and whatnot, you know. Yeah, I'm just talking to you as an adult. So you've been in all these arguments and you have heard the horrible sound of what I call disembodied language, in which a speaker doesn't listen to him or herself, and in which a speaker sounds horrible because his voice, her voice, is just demanding your attention. Yeah. And voices that demand our attention, even if these voices are soft-spoken, even if these voices are supposedly friendly or kind or patient, you get sick and tired of hearing these voices. You get sick and tired of people being funny. You get sick and tired of people being so knowledgeable, or people being so, yeah, so in your face, or so, I don't know, so supposedly casual, yeah, or so supposedly upset, because there's also that. So people being so smooth, people being so acted, people being so, yeah, so supposedly oppositional or whatever there is, defiant, yeah, defensive. It's all horrible. It's all tiring. It's all draining. It's all meaningless, basically. Disembodied language is the language of the loss of meaning. And only when we begin to listen to ourselves, yeah, I'm listening to myself and you could be listening to yourself, only if we begin to talk and listen to ourselves, not to others, to ourselves, then meaning comes again into our language. Yeah, our language is meaningless as long as we do not listen to it. And so it is basically a conditioning history which has created all human tragedy, and yet we have to begin to acknowledge this. So again, I'm asking you, yeah, you listen to this, you hear me. I'm asking you, how am I going to meet you where you are? I'm not meeting you where you are. You cannot be met by anyone where you are. You can meet yourself where you are. And that's what I'm talking about. You need to meet yourself where you are, with your language. Yeah? I have done some writing yesterday night, and I will read that writing later on my other channel. And my other channel is Maximus Pepperkamp. I will put it underneath this video so that you can find it. I've got two YouTube channels, just want to let you know. And yeah, you need to meet yourself where you are with your language. And unless your language describes your experience correctly, unless your language is true to what is happening to you, your language is totally meaningless. What you say is totally meaningless. It doesn't make any sense. And so this is the disembodied language that everybody is used to. And yeah, you can justify it. You can say, well, you know, that's difficult to get to. Well, no, it's not. As a matter of fact, it's very simple, but you keep making it difficult, and you keep being enthralled with your own complexity for reasons that you have never been able to step out of it. So you're used to complexity and to problems and to all kind of complications because you just don't know that you could be simple, that you could be just without all these problems by just allowing yourself the freedom of having embodied language, listening to yourself while you speak. And yes, I'm not meeting anybody where they are. I'm simply being myself. And you are going to either be shocked, or you're going to get it, or you're not going to get it. So there's no shaping of any behavior. You're getting it or you're not getting it. You are hearing me as I'm speaking to you, or you're just not hearing what I'm saying. You're just not listening. You're just distracted into all kind of nonsense that you're always busy with, which has prevented you forever from having this conversation with yourself. Yes. And then that is another thing. 2025 is already, we are already here in April now. But 2025 is the year in which you have to do it. If you don't do it, go to hell. Go to hell with your disembodied language. I will never talk with you with your stupid disembodied language. I'm not interested in having a debate with anybody. I'm not interested in having a discussion. I'm not interested in having an exchange of ideas. I'm not interested in growing together with other people or into creating the community for embodied language. Forget about it. That's not what this is. That's not how embodied language works. I'm interested in having embodied language with anyone who is him or herself capable of having embodied language. Boom. You're either going to do it, you're going to experiment with this, you're going to sit by yourself, you're going to talk out loud with yourself about what you should be talking about, because you are the one who is always obsessed about it. You're the one who is always frustrated about it. You're the one who is always talking about it. You're the one who is always busy with whatever it is that you find so incredibly important. You've never listened to it. You've never said it to yourself so that you could hear what you are actually saying. You've never done that. You've never listened to everything that you supposedly find so important. You have never listened to why it is that you're stuck, why it is that you're having problems. You've never listened to that. You've never told yourself. But you need to do that in 2025. If you want to talk with me in 2026, because yes, 2026 is going to be the year in which people are going to connect with me and say like, well, I've done it and I found it to be true. I've done it and this is really amazing. Now I can talk with you in the same way as I talk with myself. Because when I talk with you and have embodied language, then I'm talking with myself. That's what embodied language is. We are all talking with ourselves in embodied language. We're not talking with each other. And if we're ever talking with each other, which I hope will happen in 2025, then the talking with each other is the same as talking with ourselves. There's no difference. And the very fact that we have made a difference between what it is like to talk with ourselves and talk with others is because we never talk with ourselves. If you really talk with yourself, then you will know that having embodied language is the same. It is the same to talk with yourself like I do right now. I can talk like that with you. I'm doing it already. You can hear it. I'm not going to talk any different than this. And whether you do it or not, I don't care. Whether you do it or not, whether you're going to do it or not, it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to continue with this. This is my life. This is my enlightenment. My ongoing embodied language is my enlightenment, my language enlightenment. So I'm just going to continue with this. And you're just going to act stupid and continue with your problems and your disastrous way of life, your conflicted way of life. Okay, you can go and do that. I don't care. I don't. And I will just do what I need to do to have this. So I just need to sniff my nose. I'm already doing this. I've already done that for the last 45 years. And I will only do this more effectively as life unfolds, because that has been my history, and that is also my prediction for my own future as well as for the future for anybody else who is going to do this, that life just keeps on getting better. And if that is not happening, well, then you're doing something wrong. So now you know. So yeah. And then also I'm reminded of something else. You know, there's this horrible tendency of people to repeat this other construct, disembodied language construct, that, oh yeah, we need to have another disaster for us to come together. Oh yeah? That is really so horrendous that people believe that. That people believe, and that people justify this with their beliefs, with their religion, with their so-called spirituality. Yeah. That, oh yeah, we need to have another terrible disaster before we can come together. We have never come together. We have never had embodied language together. So everything that we have considered as coming together was just more of the same stupid group behavior, which I call disembodied language. And so disembodied language has to stop before we can have embodied language. And unless you're going to listen to yourself and talk out loud with yourself so that you can listen to yourself, it's not going to stop. No. I believe that was it for today. No, I'm still going to continue a little bit because this is what happens after I've said what I wanted to say. It actually turns out to be still pretty cold, I must say. So I gotta sniff my nose. You know, I get a little bit of a running nose. I don't have any tissue on me. And my hands are still pretty cold. I'm holding a phone. And the sun is just about to come over the mountain. And so I want to share that beautiful moment with you as I ride with my bicycle here. Took the phone in my other hand. Having nothing to say. How you like that? Can you handle that? Can you handle the silence? Yeah, it's still pretty darn cold. Whew. I should have, of course, put on my gloves, but I was again too eager to go out. I could have taken my gloves with me, but I decided, no, I don't need any gloves. I don't need any gloves. And yes, okay, so I am a little bit cold, but so what? I don't perish just because my hands are cold, you know. Here the sun is about to come up. Oh, it's such a nice, fresh, early spring morning today. Here I'm on my path again. Yeah, there's many things I could say, but I'm not saying them because either I have already said them and I don't want to say them again, or I just don't want to talk about it. And that's so funny to say these things, right? The hell with all this idea about self-reflection. You know, self-reflection is another disembodied language construct, that there is such a thing as self-reflection. No, there's no such thing as self-reflection. There's only you talking with yourself, you listening to yourself. That's what is happening. And there's no such thing as self-reflection. What you consider to be self-reflection, yeah, that you are supposedly reflecting on your mind and on your thoughts, that's all just nonsense. Yeah. Yeah. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm talking. I'm not thinking, I'm talking. And you are hearing something. You're hearing a person who speaks. Yeah? I don't have any thoughts. Getting closer. Yeah, this is what is ahead of me. Yeah, so it's still quite a distance. And I figure before we reach the end of this path here, yeah, that's where I'm going to. The sun has come up. And then I'm gonna go home because my hands are cold. Oh, I have some news. You know, this is my wife's bicycle, yeah? And I have been riding my wife's bicycle for quite some time now. But it's a kind of a small bicycle. That's for her size. And then a while ago, I said to her, I said, oh, I feel a little bit of a crunch in my back because of sitting on this bicycle. And I said to her, I said, yeah, the bicycle is of course a little too small for me. My old bicycle, it didn't work anymore. It was getting old and crappy, and so I gave it away to somebody who was still going to use it for some other parts or something. I don't know. It was a very cheap one, and which I bought many years ago. And so then my wife said, well, why don't you just buy a new bicycle? And I said, oh, a new bicycle? She said, yeah, let's get you a new bicycle. And I said, oh, yeah, let's do that. So I got myself a new bicycle, but it hasn't arrived yet in the store. So I hope today or tomorrow I get the news that it has arrived and that I can pick it up. So maybe today is the last time that I ride my wife's small bicycle. And I'm very excited about my new bicycle. It's a nice bicycle. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I want to keep my promise here. Show you the moment when the sun comes up, but it takes longer than I expected. It's coming, it's coming. It's like you know, an orgasmic moment in human existence when the sun comes over the mountain. Yeah, when the sun comes up. I get a kick out of that. You know, as a kid, I was already always up early in the morning, and yeah, I've always been a very early morning person. There it is.